Hello Biodiversity team, I am Pam and this is BiodiversiTalks, where we have conversations on biodiversity conservation with the most celebrated nature advocates in the ASEAN region.
Hi, I'm Jerome. But in this year's first episode of Biodiversity Talks, I'll be JC since we'll be introducing another Jerome. Join us as we welcome the new face of ASEAN Biodiversity. Let us welcome the new Executive Director of the ACB, Dr. Jerome L. Montemayor.
Actually, in high school, I was a student of the Manila Science High School. So our training was more on science and technology. So initially, my journey, my path to college and hopefully to a successful career after completing my undergrad. Originally, I was in robotics. At that time, robotics is a very new field, so there were only very few universities that were offering the course. So when I saw this model robotic arm being demonstrated in one of the science fairs, where I was, me and my friends and classmates were competing for a research award, we were exposed to the wonders of robotic arms. So that's where I started. I was supposed to be a robotics engineer. But then, I was also volunteering in college and I was joining outreach work in urban poor communities. We had what we call Camp Kalikasan or environmental camps during school breaks. And then it hit me that, I want to work more with people than with machines. And then later on, in working with people, I realized that their way of life, their livelihood, their entire aspiration for a better future is founded in the wellness of their environment. And there begins my journey in environment and biodiversity. I saw an advertisement, a local funding facility established to support biodiversity conservation and sustainable development in the Philippines. And this was like 30 kilograms younger. I was in my early 20s. That was my first real job in biodiversity work, and I was really new to the field because my background was in development work, which is also a very vast field: street children work, livelihood, policy advocacy for good governance, and then biodiversity. So that's how I started, and then for the past 2 decades, I have been working within the sector, and from biodiversity, of course, sustainable development is attached to it, and then because of the climate crisis, climate response, including even disaster risk reduction and management. So that's how I started. There was a very significant event that happened in the Philippines in November of 2013. If you recall, that was probably one of the country's first-hand real experience of climate change-induced extreme weather event that led to the loss of many lives, and also the loss of many of our important biodiversity, marine, terrestrial, wetlands. And I was not part of the, what do you call it, first responders. Probably I was in the second or third group that went to Super Typhoon Haiyan affected areas. But my mission then was not to help in relief operations or rehabilitation of lost houses and or damaged houses. I had a very unique mission then. Community and forest restoration. For several months, we went to different communities, different types of ecosystems, a lot of mangrove forests that were affected because they did their ecological function, their ecological service of protecting communities and lives, but in the process they were damaged. Some of them were totally destroyed, some were partially affected, but to a large extent based on citizen science and field assessment of some of our leading scientists, together with local communities acting as citizen scientists. We saw that there were many real areas that were in need of protection so that these mangrove areas can be allowed to recover naturally, but some areas needed some aided rehabilitation, and we were pushing for community-based restoration because at the same time we were able to help provide substitute livelihood to those affected while they were also using the work of ecosystems restoration as part of their healing. So we were trying to reach as many communities and as many different types of ecosystem. And then there was a small hill. So the locals, you want to see the entire area? Yes. Where? Okay, let's go up to this old hill where there was an old abandoned government building. So we went up, and because of the typhoons, super typhoons effect, so basically there were no vegetation covering the area. When we reached the top of the mountain, it's like, oh my gosh, so beautiful! And then we were all like in different corners of the hill, taking pictures, excited about, oh, this is wonderful. It's the first time we saw a peatland, or what we suspected was a peat swamp forest, or peatlands, a type of peatlands. So we took a lot of pictures, and then so that's how I got hooked up in peatlands work in the Philippines, by accident or by divine providence, or what they say, from crisis. There are also opportunities born. So that was the spark that led me to do work in peatlands. When we went back to Metro Manila after the mission, I told the story. Oh, we found this peat swamp forest, and then Miss Annabel Plantilla of Biofin Philippines called Assistant Director Neneng Andres of the Biodiversity Management Bureau, because there was an initial project of the Philippine government together with the ASEAN. Oh, yeah. So now I see the connection why I'm here. It was an ASEAN project. I think it was called the ASEAN Peat Swamp Forest, or they call it the APFP and CPEAT, some of the pioneer peatland work of the ASEAN. And the Philippines was one of the participants or project partners. So when she learned that I went there and saw the peatlands, that was the final hook that got me into peatlands work. So if you can deduce from my life story, so I had experience working with the grassroots communities in different types of ecosystems, and lately in peatlands. But maybe just a little backtrack. I'm a firm believer of sharing experiences and knowledge, and I'm a lifelong learner. So when I learned uh, a lot about our local biodiversity, there was this natural hunger to, hey, what's our neighbors in the ASEAN and other countries in the other parts of the world who are equally blessed with the richness of biodiversity. What are they doing? How are they protecting and conserving their biodiversity, at the same time providing opportunities for communities, especially those that are in the margins, to have a better quality of life while they protect and preserve our unique, or their unique biodiversity. So I had opportunities working in regional networks, mostly in the CSO sector. And that was a very meaningful experience for me, working with different cultures, not just in ASEAN, but throughout Asia. And just before the pandemic, I was part of this network called the World Fair Trade Organization. And one of the fair trade principles is respect for the environment. So it's still connected to the environment while making sure that there's equity for people when it comes to producing, selling products. I was invited to become part of an ASEAN project, the SUPA, the Sustainable Use of Peatlands and Haze Mitigation in ASEAN. And there were two. It was a two parallel project. One was led by state actors. The other part was led by non-state actors. Initially, I was part of the team that implemented the non-state actors, SUPA 2, or People for Peat. And then towards the end, I was invited by DNR to help in the completion of our work for SUPA 1, the state actors' work on peatlands. And then that got me thinking, hey, I hope I can continue working with different cultures in the region. After completing my role in SUPA 1 and SUPA 2, I said, I think I want to do more regional work, because there's so many things to learn about peatlands, about ASEAN biodiversity, and it's really fun and fulfilling to be able to work with counterparts in different countries, especially during the SUPA project. I had counterparts in I think 7 or 8 countries within the ASEAN who are also pursuing peatlands conservation. So there's a natural question in me, okay, so what's next? But at that time, I was still busy serving the Foundation for the Philippine Environment, transforming how we do local grants making to support biodiversity conservation. And then an advertisement popped out in my social media newsfeed. The ASEAN Center for Biodiversity is looking for its new executive director. I said, but working with them in the past CBD global negotiations, said, they have very good people there. So it would be very exciting to work with them. But then I was not sure, so I said, okay, let me think about it. Let me discern. Maybe I can ask some signs from above if this journey is for me. Until one time, I was driving from home to the office, and then the route I chose was passing through the office of the Senate. So I was in the main road, and then there was a vehicle that came out from the Senate. So the traffic enforcer stopped me because there's a vehicle exiting. So as a courtesy, we let the vehicles out. Lo and behold, ASEAN Center for Biodiversity. The vehicle of the executive director just passed in front of me. Okay, is that a sign, Lord? Maybe it is. Here we are. So exciting days ahead, I hope. I think the first 100 days, it's really going to be me getting to know the team, this wonderful set of talented and highly competent group of individuals working together to serve the ASEAN, our ASEAN member states, our stakeholders in the 10 countries. And I was told that our services, our support is now being asked even outside ASEAN. So maybe we're doing something really good, and we want to make it even better. So thank you to all my predecessors for preparing the road for me and the rest of the team to be an even bigger organization serving the needs of the region. And I would like to express our commitment to our ASEAN member states that we're here to support you, and we look forward to working even harder with you to bring us there to where we want to be by 2030. And I think with us working together, the ASEAN way, dialogues, consensus building, creative resource generation, because resources is always never enough, but with us working together, I'm sure that we can mobilize more resources to support our aspirations for biodiversity in the ASEAN. And I'm confident because you see me here as an individual, but behind me, or let me correct that, side by side with me, it's a strong team of the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity. My dream for ASEAN Biodiversity is our dream, a region where biodiversity is valued, conserved, restored, and wisely used, maintaining ecosystem services, sustaining a healthy planet, and delivering benefits essential for all people. Together, we can do it. Why? Because we are ASEAN Biodiversity.
There you have it. And please remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our social media channels flashed on your screens.
From all of us here at the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity,
Happy World Environment Day!